a continued conversation with LorriMarie Jenkins, to which her husband Rob was invited to talk about art and the experience of YouTube.
Okay.
All right. So I was curious about, I had asked this question of another person. I had read something about influencers
I'm
on
gonna do one, then she wants to visit with both of us. Sure. Okay.
influencers on YouTube. Like, I didn't even know this, what influencers on YouTube was until it was pointed out to me that the YouTube influencers were people. But I don't know, how do you feel about that? What do you?
You know, it's so cute that you bring that up, Annadora, because one of the last things that I would think of myself as is an influencer. I think influencers are put together people that come to the screen and they're all put together and their clothes make sense. And, you know, they're there to influence people about products and, you know, that kind of thing. So I have not put myself in the category of an influencer at all. I'm just somebody that comes to the screen and inspires.
Now that's something I wanted to talk to you about too, that what kind of comments do you get a lot of that you think you get most of?
So an average video for me will get 75 to 150 comments. And I sit and I respond to every comment.
Okay.
And most of the comments are gratitude comments. Once in a while, once in a great while, I'll get a stinky one. But most of the time they are comments of gratitude. Thank you for this. Thank you for showing me that. Thank you for inspiring me. I'm going to take this idea and do something else with it. That kind of thing.
Do you get a lot of people asking you that they didn't have permission to do what you did? Women who? No.
No. Now I do have people that follow me that have their own YouTube channels, and they're wonderful about dropping my name. You know, I was inspired by LorriMarie, or LorriMarie showed me this technique or whatever. They're really good about mentioning my name.
But there aren't those that are afraid to do anything until they see you do it.
I have people that have said, I didn't know how to do that. Thank you for showing me, or you've given me the courage to try that.
But not like afraid to
copy me.
No, not to copy you, but afraid. In other words, you would be giving them permission that in a way says, hey, it's okay to create. I mean, you know, when you said in the painted hands, when you say the little girl had to hide her hands because she was told that she couldn't, she shouldn't, because in this tribe, you didn't do that, you know. I wonder how many comments you get from other women who feel like their painted hands have to be hidden.
All right, I would say that almost 100% of the comments are, thank you for showing me I can play. Thank you for showing me there's no mistakes. Thank you for showing me that that I can do this. That's what the comments are always about. Thank you. Thank you for showing me that I'm an artist. You know, it's just, yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there are people who feel like they were not, they had women who couldn't felt they couldn't do anything, and then they came out with YouTube artists or people on YouTube who do and create, and then they somehow felt like they had permission to create also.
Yeah, and I believe, Annadora, that I give permission for people to play. I think that that's the permission that I give people. Don't take this so seriously. You know, this is playtime. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have a purpose. Yes, I give you permission to play.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much, oh, and I was gonna ask, so what are, the reason I asked about a jelly plate was, I thought, well, you know, maybe the jelly plate would come in handy while you were in Costa Rica. You said it was
It's
too much
packed.
humidity to do certain kinds of things, but what about the jelly plate, using the jelly plate a lot?
Yeah, the jelly plate is packed for Costa Rica for our first in May, when we go for the 4 months, the initial 4 months. That's the jelly plate is packed. And it's interesting that you bring that up, Annadora, because the backgrounds to the pages in The Little Girl with Painted Hands, those are all jelly plate prints.
Mm.
So if you look at those, they are repeated because I picked my favorite ones color-wise and things like that that went with the book. But those are jelly plate prints that I used for the background of the book pages.
Mm. Yeah, I just didn't, I guess I was also going to ask you, the jelly plate thing came to me, but are you going to do any other, do you have any ideas of what you're going to do in Costa Rica, or are you just going to go and not work?
So the thing the thing that keeps coming up, there's several things. I'm taking watercolor paints and pencils. I really enjoy watercolor. I really enjoy it. So I'm going to take those. I'm also going to take my jelly plate and my acrylics so that I can print things on top of those. I'm taking my laser printer so that I can play with my images and put them on the jelly plate backgrounds. And I also want to make like a totem, some kind of a totem sculpture. And I have purchased some air dry clay so that I can play with my hands and sculpt things while I'm there.
And you never know what you'll find there and what your influences will be and where you'll end up and all that. So
right,
kind of an adventure.
very much. Yeah.
I'm so sorry that I didn't buy one of your altered books before you wrap that all up. So
I know I have people still, are there any altered books? I just want to buy an altered book. It's like, I'm done with that. Those aren't happening anymore. So,
well, I have my dress. It's right up there.
I'm so glad you got that dress.
No, I told my mailman, I said, you know, it was sent to 93 and he 23, and he said that happens all the time. So he would keep an eye out for it. And that's all it took. And then I went through the emails after you said, I don't make typos. I'm always in a hurry. And the keys, I don't punch them hard enough or something. And then I saw that I had written my last, in that email that you'd asked for my address, 23 Dearborn Street. I couldn't hold you responsible for that typo. That was all done by me. Brought to you by yours truly.
Well, the main thing is it got to you. Now, if ever it gets a kink or something in it, or a little crack in the wax, just hit it with a heat gun, some kind of heat, and it'll mend that.
Well, the only thing I noticed, and you must have splattered it. Did you splatter it?
Oh, on the mica?
on the mica and on the dress itself?
Okay, so on the dress itself, since I use an organic beeswax, sometimes there's particles in it.
Oh, okay.
And so the particles get on in the wax and then therefore on the dress. Now the mica, where you see the splatters, that's actually mineral deposits in the mica. That's the way it came.
Pretty cool. I have my own LorriMarie now.
I know, one of my faves too.
It's
I was
hanging right over
in
here.
the
I
dining
won't
room this
turn-
morning.
I'm afraid of losing my power cord. My
Well,
other
you
computer-
sent me a picture of it,
Oh,
so
I
I got
did.
to,
Right. It's
yeah.
hanging right there. I mean, it's right near me. So
Nice.
so anyway.
Yeah, I was in the dining room this morning and I was thinking, oh, she got that dress. She got that dress. So that was
Well,
pretty exciting.
I'm curious to see what you do when you go to Costa Rica. Of course, I'm going to keep up with you and just, you know,
I'm curious to see what I do too.
that makes two of us.
Absolutely. So do you want me to go get Rob?
Sure.
Okay, all right. I'll be right back. We'll grab a chair and then we'll come both of us in the studio. I'll take that down. So I'm not so taller than
Hi,
you.
Rob.
Hey,
I
how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to get LorriMarie and you together.
Great.
You are
I'm
together.
sorry, tell me
but
your name one more time.
wanted to get you a tape of you together because when I read the girl with the painted hands,
Uh-huh.
and I asked her last time when we were together, what do you think, Rob? What do you think your relationship with Rob had to do with your art? And she said, everything. And I said, okay. So my idea was, well, I've got to have a tape of you together. And so
Perfect.
this was a chance to do it. And LorriMarie had told me a little bit about that you were already a working artist. Did you
Yeah.
go to school or for glass blowing or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I've been an artist my whole life. I've been drawing and making stuff since as early as I could remember. But I did go to Kent State and I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts there. Kent State's in Ohio.
I
And
know it's very famous for people getting murdered.
that too. Most youngsters don't know that, but we do.
Yeah,
And,
we older people know that history. The young people don't know that history.
No.
Right.
So yeah, I got my BFA from Kent State. And then after that, I got into Tulane in New Orleans. And I went to graduate school there and I got an MFA. Both my degrees were in glass. So more specifically glass sculpture. But yeah, I did glass blowing and metal casting and ceramics and drawing and everything.
Well, we have similar backgrounds, which I
Okay.
kind of, when LorriMarie said, if they can do that, I can do that. I thought, this guy is obviously an artist who has been exposed to Duchamp and a lot of people within the art, the Bauhaus, when she described what kind of work you guys and your friends were doing, I
Uh-huh.
realized that there was a historical connection there,
Sure.
in terms of where you were coming from, which meant that you had been exposed in art school to,
Mhm.
things that probably LorriMarie saw that and went, whoa, what is that? And I found that fascinating because what she's doing and what the YouTube artists are doing, I find very fascinating. I found the fact that you made your Costa Rica trip, you did YouTube videos about your trip. And it's kind of a use of social media
Right.
that actually justifies it in a way, I think, because you're using it for something else. I mean, maybe there are other people who want to go to Costa Rica, and the process was quite laborious. I mean, it wasn't just like, well, we're going to Costa Rica tomorrow. Get papers for your dog and all that. So I just found it, I found both of your ways of expression kind of interesting because you told me that you did furniture, you made furniture, that some of the furniture in the backyard was yours. And, so I had to meet you and I had to talk to you.
Good, good.
Yeah. Do you want to tell her anything about yourself?
Yeah, I've been a carpenter for going on 30 years. I don't do it for a living currently, but I've been building custom furniture for about that long. Primarily self-taught with that. I've worked as a neon artist for a living. Had a lot of different jobs. Worked as a production glass blower. I have been making art my whole life, like I said, and it's changed over the years. Predominantly assemblage and collage work now. I have an affinity for old things, original things. I don't like copies. I like putting real things in my artwork. But the furniture making, a lot of it was just by necessity, because when in my early days, and also when LorriMarie and I first got together, we didn't have any money. And so we couldn't afford furniture. So I just started building stuff that we needed. And so, I built a cabinet or a table or a desk or anything like that. And then my style evolved. I kind of call it urban rustic. All of my furniture is made from recycled wood. So in my carpentry jobs, I would search out all the stuff that was going to end up in a landfill and take it home and, find some beautiful old stuff. So both LorriMarie and I spend a lot of time and energy reusing and repurposing old things and, just making lovely new things out of them. But it's a great way when you're poor to get free art materials. And so that's, we've done that. And then it became sort of our style.
Yeah, a lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And, there's something about the design of a lot of old things that we love. We're both big fans of Art Deco, clean lines and stuff like that. And we don't like new, shiny things nearly as much as old, rusty things. But our styles, we've shown our work together at a number of galleries over the years, and you can really tell that we have a similar aesthetic. Hers definitely goes more into kind of a more feminine angle, brighter colors, things like that. Mine's a little bit more, I don't know,
Somber.
It is.
Antique store, maybe a little darker, more contemplative. Hers is brighter and more hopeful. So, it's a lot like our personalities.
I remember when Rob and I, we were together for a little while, but he was having an art show, an art exhibit. It was in Open Studios.
Uh-huh.
And we were upstairs and people were going in and out. I was standing outside the door And somebody came out and they were like, oh my gosh, that artwork is so dark. And Rob heard the comment and he came out and he said, oh my gosh, they said my artwork is dark. Do you think my artwork's dark? And I'm like, duh. His earlier sculptures and stuff were pretty dark.
You're awesome.
Awesome, yes, but dark, definitely. When he first moved in to the little house and he took over the garage as his studio, he brought some of his artwork over, and you know, his sculptures were banded at the mouth or banded at the eyes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is there anything you need to talk about? You know, there was pretty dark stuff for my, you know, it was new. It was just a whole new world for me. I'd never experienced that artwork before. So, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, like you probably have done a lot of art history courses and you've seen a lot of shows and things like that. And, you know, I've seen all of the majority of my friends are artists or have been, some are professors now. And a lot of us, you know, we've got kind of a darker style, but not everybody. And we learned so much about all the different eras of our history that it's, there's so much that didn't intrigue me and there's so much that did intrigue me. Like abstract work and abstract expressionism held zero interest for me because there was no there for me. I liked emotive work. I liked things that made you think, things that gave you an emotional reaction, strong work. And there was so much of that out there. That's, of course, what I gravitated towards. And a lot of my work is figurative and has been for years. I've always loved the human figure. Found it's one of the great things that it's relatable to everybody. Whether you like it or not, it's another story. But, you know, with so much of the abstract stuff, it's like, unless you have an art history degree, you're probably not going to get it. You know, that was my thought, at least.
And that's your sculptures that are figurative, you know, your curiosity boxes. I guess
And my photography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been a photographer for probably as long as anything. You know, started doing photography when I was about 16. And so I've had some photography shows, but I like people. I like it, like everything, but I do a lot of photos of people.
So he went to Cuba
Uh-huh.
and Bhutan
Yep.
and did photography in those places.
Yeah.
So the last photography show that he had was Faces of Cuba. And it was,
No, it was actually The Travelers.
is that what the show was called?
Yeah. That was the one at SD Gallery.
Oh, yeah. The one
So-
before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Before pre-COVID.
right.
Well, don't you think that in a way you read more people? And with your work, Rob, this might not be possible, but in the case of LorriMarie, she's not just in a gallery with 30 people. I don't know what the percentage of people that watch your videos, but you're really taking your art to like any number of people. It's not the same thing as a gallery where 30 people see it.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people can potentially come to your work and see it.
So we have had, on my channel, we have had people ask that would Rob do tutorials? Would Rob do YouTube videos while he's doing his work? And your feedback on that?
It's hard. It's hard to do what I do without having a camera attached to my forehead, going around my studio and everything. So I've done a few small procedural videos, but I don't know. I mean, LorriMarie's sitting down at her desk and doing painting and doing all these things in one place. It's a very different creature. She's an incredible teacher. She's been teaching for years and years and years. And so that just segued into her videos seamlessly. And I've taught a lot in the past, but it's usually about a specific technique in a studio, glass casting, bronze casting, things like of that nature. And so in my studio, I do a little bit of everything. And I've never been able to put together an idea for good videos like she has done, but she's got so many more ideas than I do. She makes work 10 times as fast as I do.
And I'll sit down.
It
Go
would
ahead.
seem to me that, glass blowing, let's say you said some of your friends have become professors. I could imagine you teaching on YouTube, LorriMarie does. I mean, basically she teaches, as
Mhm.
far as I can tell, it's a teaching process. Today we're gonna do this, this is the page that we were gonna work on. And then, but like glass blowing, I would love to see some videos where I could watch someone actually do something like that. But I'm not, I myself am doing this, this is my idea of a conversation with LorriMarie and Rob Jenkins is my idea of YouTube,
Sure.
it's not doing my work on YouTube. I wouldn't know how to. So in a way, I empathize with you. On the one hand, on the other hand, I mean, LorriMarie is like, bah, like, just, I can't believe she can generate that. I mean, I can, because I could never do it. I could not even think that fast. I couldn't.
It's
But
also her full-time job. She's been doing the YouTube channel pretty much as her business for 3 or 4 years. So it's changed a lot. She's changed a lot, and she spends a lot of time on it, editing and coming up with new ideas and keeping it fresh.
So what's different about the way Rob and I create is I sit down and I create one thing. And Rob will go in his studio and start here and start creating here, and then go over here and create on something else, and then back over here and create on something else. So he has several projects going at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't have that focus or not focus, whatever it is.
Well, a lot of it is just you get a piece to a certain point, maybe glue's drying, or maybe you get to a point where you're not sure what to do. So I'll be working on similar artworks, but I'll be doing 3 or 4 of them at a time for a show, or for just, I've got some inspiration at a certain time of year. But yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different work tables in my studio, plus table saw and chop saw. So I'm jumping around my studio all the time, and it just doesn't lend itself as well. If I was doing like a small carpentry project or something like that, I could see that being more of an instructional video, because I'm working on one thing, do a step-by-step about this is how I'm making this little cabinet or spice rack or something fun. And so you could see how I do it and do something like it, or just watch. So, maybe that's something that would happen in Costa Rica, because I'm hoping to do more woodworking there eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I consider it a pleasure to have met both of you and watched you, and it's like watching a friend. I had an experience where one of the other people that I'm interviewing, she had a cold like 2 weeks ago, and so I couldn't meet with her. And so I basically, and there was something else going on with her, and I wasn't sure what it was. And I basically felt really bad, like, I hope she's all right. I hope.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, wow, this isn't just, this is like a friendship in the making.
Mhm.
And I had to tell myself, okay, you cannot take this on, because you don't even really know her, but it was just from watching her on YouTube and being involved with watching her and then interviewing her and being involved with interview. I mean, I was shocked at my response. You know, I was shocked at my response or how I felt about it. It's
But I feel like Zoom has enabled us to build these relationships. You know, they are friendships. There's people that, you know, make comments and things like that on YouTube, and I have a relationship with them. You know, it's, yeah, you can't help it. You just
Right.
can't help it.
And one thing I'd like to say about LorriMarie's teaching before we end is what I've seen her do her workshops in New Zealand and other places, and I've seen how she interacts with her students in person. And I think one of the reasons so many people gravitate towards her videos is how genuine she is. She's exactly the same person in person as she is on the films. She's really present. She's a very good teacher, and she's just as kind and helpful in person. So it's not like she's putting on a different face for the video. You know, she's not presenting herself as anything different. And that genuineness just, I think, really comes through because she's got a really rabid following of people who like her and like what she teaches them, you know, from a beginner's angle. Like you don't have to have any experience to do what she does. And just like she started
well, I
from,
beg to differ with that.
maybe not as good as she does, but she started at the same place. She started not knowing anything about art. And when did you make your first art piece? How old were you?
It was days before I was 50.
Yeah, I mean, 50 years old, just starting artwork. And, you know, she's almost entirely self-taught, a couple of classes, but, you know, that's what I like, because I'm coming from this structured school, university thing where, you know, you have to know all this stuff. And she's like, forget all that, just have fun. And it's great. And it's very, I think that's what opens her up to so many people watching and doing what she does.
Thanks, babe.
Well, we all like you,
you know-
LorriMarie.
Thank you.
Right, me too.
Yeah, when I first started, like, you know, Rob does come from an art background, and so he would have that structure, and I'd be, la, don't tell me, don't tell me there's supposed to be structure. I don't want to hear that there's supposed to be structure. There's no rules. So yeah, I've come at it from
But
that
you
way.
have natural structure. Having gone to art school, let me tell you, you have a natural structure. You
Mhm.
do have structure. I mean, that stuff is structured. When you look at it,
He has structure.
well,
She
he has a
doesn't.
different
I don't have-
kind of structure. I know what kind of structure he has. I, you know, it's a whole different kind of structure. I've seen
Yeah.
your studio, and the one where you walk
Yeah.
around your studio and your birdhouses and all that, and your trip to Costa Rica. So I feel like I know you too. But what I like
Yeah,
is
thanks.
the combination, you know, the girl with the painted hand meets the boy with the painted hand, with very different kind of backgrounds.
Yep.
In the end, it comes to the same thing. She's a creator. She does, you know, she's a different, I think it's exciting. I'm glad you guys got together, and I'm glad that I got a chance to meet you and got a chance to talk to you. And I hope that we will continue talking and hope that we continue to keep in touch. And what about the house? Has it sold yet, or?
It's not on the market yet. We're doing a
Okay.
lot of
April
preparation.
1st.
What's that?
April 1st?
Beginning of March now.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
changed it because our relocation date has changed. So beginning of March, the house will go on the market.
Yeah, we
What is
moved.
your new
in April.
relocation date?
April 30th. April 30th
That's,
is when we leave.
we fly out for
Uh-huh.
good, April 30th. And so we were looking at the end of May, now it's the end of April. So instead of putting the house on the market in April, we're doing it early March, we're pretty sure. So a few things to get together, but it's going really quickly. It's going very well.
All right. Well, I won't keep you both because I know you're busy with your house stuff and
Little bit.
LorriMarie, yeah. LorriMarie, I really hope that we can continue even after you've left for,
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll still have good Wi-Fi where we are.
okay?
So we'll be able to Zoom. And I'll get emails from you, setting up times for us to chat. So that works in my world.
Well, that's really good. And Rob, thank you for joining us and thank you.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, I just,
Thanks.
this is my project. I mean, this is, but that I mean that talking to LorriMarie and about her work and then showing some of her videos is my project. And that's what I'm interested in. I wanted to know her. I didn't necessarily want to make anything. I had more fun knowing her.
That's your career.
All right, sweetheart, we'll stay in touch, okay, Annadora?
Okay, well, take care. And it was
All right.
You
lovely
too. Nice to
meeting
meet
you.
ya.
And in a way, I'm kind of sad that you're leaving the country, but
No,
but that's the great thing about social media.
right,
And
That's
we
right.
can keep in touch.
yep, and we will.
Okay, take
All
care.
right.
Lots
Take
of
care.
love. Bye.
Bye.